The forest was dark. It was silent. But it was not empty. The trees watched. Their branches were like skeletal fingers reaching out. They wanted to grab anyone who dared to enter. The full moon was hidden tonight. A thick fog hung in the air, making it hard to see. Was that a shadow moving up ahead? Or was it just the wind playing tricks? Deep in the forest stood a castle. It was tall and imposing, with crumbling stone walls and towers that scraped the sky. No light shone from its windows. Only darkness lived there now. The castle had a name. People called it Blackwood Manor, but they only whispered the name. They said it was cursed. They said that no one who entered ever came out again. Max was never one to back down from a challenge. He had heard the stories about Blackwood Manor. He knew the legends, but he didn't believe them. He had received a strange message. It was a plain white envelope with his name scrawled on the front. Inside was a single sheet of paper. "Come to Blackwood Manor," it read. "I need your help." There was no signature. Max stared at the message. Who had sent it, and why? What could possibly be lurking in that abandoned castle? Curiosity burned within him. He knew he had to find out. He packed a small bag with a flashlight, a compass, and a map of the area. He told his parents he was going camping with friends. He knew they wouldn't approve of this little adventure. The old iron gates of Blackwood Manor creaked open. Max stepped inside, his heart pounding. The air immediately felt colder. It was heavy with the smell of decay and something else, something unsettling. He walked through the overgrown courtyard, his footsteps echoing in the silence. Broken statues stared at him with empty eyes. Thorny vines clawed at his clothes as if trying to pull him back. He reached the massive oak doors of the castle. They were slightly ajar. He pushed one open, and it groaned like a dying beast. Darkness swallowed him whole. He flicked on his flashlight, the beam cutting through the gloom. Cobwebs hung everywhere, thick as curtains. Dust covered every surface. It was as if time itself had stood still within these walls. Max started exploring the castle. Each room was like a scene from a nightmare. Furniture lay rotting, covered in dust and cobwebs. Paint peeled from the walls like dead skin. And the silence. It was deafening. Or was it? As Max moved deeper into the castle, he started to hear things. Whispers. Faint at first, almost like the wind whistling through broken windows. But then they grew louder. He couldn't make out the words. They seemed to slither around him just out of reach. They were cold and menacing, filled with an unknown malice. The whispers seemed to be coming from the walls themselves. Was the castle talking to him? Max shivered, pulling his jacket tighter around him. He had a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. The flashlight flickered. Max tapped it, his heart sinking as the light died completely. He was plunged into absolute darkness. He fumbled for his backpack, his fingers closing around the spare batteries. As he struggled to change them, he noticed something out of the corner of his eye. Movement. Shadows were dancing in the darkness, twisting and contorting in impossible ways. He froze, holding his breath. The shadows seemed to be alive, growing larger and more menacing. They writhed on the walls, their forms shifting and changing like creatures from a nightmare. Were they real, or was his imagination playing tricks on him? He wasn't sure he wanted to find out. Suddenly, the ground beneath Max's feet began to tremble. The vibration started small, a gentle tremor, but it quickly grew in intensity, shaking the entire castle. Dust rained down from the ceiling as the walls groaned in protest. Paint chipped and fell, revealing the crumbling stone beneath. It felt like the whole world was about to collapse. Max stumbled, trying to keep his balance. He grabbed onto a nearby wall for support, but it was no use. The tremors were getting worse, threatening to tear the castle apart. He had to get out. Now! But which way? He was lost, trapped in a collapsing nightmare.